Let me be real with you right from the start because you deserve that. That is not what this video is. Most videos about getting rich are going to tell you to wake up at 5 in the morning, drink a green smoothie, write in a gratitude journal, meditate for 45 minutes, and then somehow become a millionaire. This video is for the person who has a regular job, regular bills, and a regular life, and genuinely wants to know what the actual path to building real wealth looks like in 2026. This is not a motivational speech, but the real deal. And here is the honest truth before we even get into it. Getting rich in real life is not fast. It is not glamorous. And it looks nothing like what you see on Instagram. But it is absolutely possible for the average American earning an average income, and today I am going to show you exactly how it is done. Drop a comment right now and tell me your biggest money goal for this year. Just one goal. I check every comment on this channel. Welcome back to Rich Habits. If you are new here, subscribe because this is the channel that tells you the truth about money that most people never hear. Let us start with the most important thing, which is what getting rich in real life actually means. Most people have a picture in their head when they hear the word rich. Private jets, mansions, a walk-in closet the size of most people's apartments. But here is the thing. That version of rich requires being ultra-wealthy, which is a completely different conversation. Getting genuinely rich in real life means reaching a point where your money works harder than you do. Where your investments generate enough income that your job becomes optional, not mandatory. Where a car breakdown or medical bill does not send your entire financial life into crisis mode. That is the version of rich that is available to almost every American. And it does not require a trust fund, a viral business, or a lucky investment. It requires a specific set of decisions made consistently over time. The first decision, and the one that separates people who build wealth from people who always seem to be starting over, is the decision to spend less than you earn. Every single month. Without exception. This sounds so obvious that most people skip past it. But consider this. The average American household earns around $80,000 a year and spends around $78,000. That $2,000 gap is the entire foundation of their financial future. $2,000 a year. $167 a month. That is the margin most Americans are working with. The wealthy are not working with a $2,000 gap. They are working with a 20 or 30 or 40% gap between what they earn and what they spend. And they close that gap not by depriving themselves of everything enjoyable, but by being ruthlessly intentional about which expenses actually make their life better and which ones simply happen out of habit. Think about your own spending for a second. Not the rent and the groceries and the utilities, those are non-negotiable. Think about the subscriptions you barely use. The eating out that happens not because you planned a nice meal but because you were tired and defaulted to DoorDash. The upgraded phone you bought 6 months before your old one stopped working. None of those purchases made your life meaningfully better. They just happened. And collectively they're eating the gap between where you were and where you want to be. Once you start widening that gap between income and spending, the next decision is where that money goes. And this is where most people make one of two mistakes. They either leave it sitting in a regular savings account earning almost nothing, or they try to pick individual stocks and end up losing more than they gained. The path that research consistently confirms works for ordinary people over time is straightforward. You put your money into low-cost index funds that track the S&P 500, you automate the contributions so they happen without a conscious decision every month, and then you leave it completely alone for years. The S&P 500 has returned an average of 10 to 11% annually for the last 100 years. Through the Great Depression, through World War II, through the 2008 financial crisis, through a global pandemic. 10 to 11% on average every single year. And anyone with a standard brokerage account can access that return for a fee of as little as 0.01% annually through funds like FXAIX at Fidelity or VU at Vanguard. Here is what that looks like in practice for a real person. If you earn $60,000 a year, cut your spending enough to invest $500 a month, and maintain that discipline for 30 years, your portfolio grows to approximately $1.1 million. You contributed $180,000 of your own money. Compound interest handed you the other $920,000 for free. You are a millionaire. Not from a lucky break. From $500 a month and the patience to leave it alone. Now here is the part that most wealth-building content glosses over because it is less exciting than talking about investments. Your income is a variable. And increasing it is the single fastest way to accelerate how quickly you get rich. Most people treat their salary like a fixed number. Whatever the company offered them when they got the job is what they earn, possibly with a 2 or 3% raise every couple of years that barely keeps up with inflation. But your income is not fixed unless you decide it is. Switching jobs is one of the fastest ways to significantly increase your income. According to research from the Pew Research Center, workers who switch employers increase their earnings by an average of 10% compared to staying at the same company. Over a career, the compounding difference between someone who negotiates and switches strategically and someone who simply accepts annual minimums is hundreds of thousands of dollars. Learning high-income skills is another lever that is completely within your control. Skills in technology, data analysis, sales, financial management, project management, and AI-adjacent work are commanding salaries in 2026 that were unimaginable 5 years ago. Many of these skills can be learned through online platforms for under a few $100s in course fees. The return on that investment, measured in increased earning power over a career, is one of the highest available to anyone. And beyond your primary job, building a side income is no longer a nice-to-have in the current economic environment. It is increasingly a standard part of how ordinary Americans build wealth. A YouTube channel in a finance niche, an affiliate marketing income stream, a freelance skill applied on weekends, digital products sold on Gumroad. None of these require quitting your job or taking enormous risks. They require time, consistency, and the willingness to earn a little before you earn a lot. Here is something that trips people up more than almost anything else on the path to getting rich in real life. Lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is the quiet, relentless tendency to expand your spending every time your income grows. You get a raise and you move into a nicer apartment. You get a bonus and you buy a newer car. You start earning more from a side hustle and suddenly your wardrobe budget doubles. There is nothing wrong with enjoying the rewards of your hard work. But the people who build real wealth are extremely intentional about which lifestyle upgrades they make and which ones they delay. The fundamental habit is this: when your income goes up, your investment contributions go up first. Before the nicer apartment. Before the newer car. Before anything else. Your future self gets the raise before your lifestyle does. Warren Buffett still lives in the house he bought in 1958. He is worth over $150 billion. His refusal to let lifestyle creep consume his income is not a quirk. It is the entire foundation of how ordinary income became extraordinary wealth over time. There is one more piece of this that almost never gets talked about honestly, and it is the timeline. Getting rich in real life takes time. Not Instagram time, where someone posts about going from broke to millionaire in 18 months. Real time. The kind of time that feels slow when you are inside it but looks fast when you look back. Research from Tom Corley's Rich Habits study found that the average self-made millionaire takes between 12 and 32 years to build their wealth, depending on the strategy they use. Entrepreneurs who started businesses averaged 12 years. Patient investors who saved and invested consistently averaged 32 years. Those are not discouraging numbers. They are liberating ones. Because they mean you do not need to be exceptional. You do not need to discover the next Amazon. You do not need to get lucky. You need to make a series of reasonable financial decisions and then give them enough time to compound. The people sitting in a comfortable retirement right now who never earned an extraordinary income got there because they started early, stayed consistent, and refused to quit when the process felt slow. The process always feels slow. That is not a sign that it is not working. It is just how compounding looks from the inside. So here is what getting rich in real life actually looks like as a practical plan. You start by closing the gap between what you earn and what you spend, not by cutting everything enjoyable but by eliminating the spending that happens out of habit without adding real value to your life. You put that gap to work immediately in a Roth IRA or a 401k, invested in low-cost S&P 500 index funds that compound for decades without requiring your attention. You actively work on increasing your income through negotiation, skill building, job switching, and side income, because earning more is the fastest way to accelerate everything else. You resist lifestyle creep by making your investment contributions the first beneficiary of every raise, bonus, and windfall. And then you give the whole thing time. That is not a glamorous plan. It will not go viral on social media. Nobody is going to make a documentary about someone who invested $500 a month for 30 years and retired with over $1 million. But that person is real. That person exists in every city in America. And there is absolutely nothing stopping you from being that person. Now before you go, I want to know something specific. Where are you right now on this journey? Are you still building the foundation, trying to get out of debt first? Are you already investing but wondering if you are doing enough? Or are you just starting to think about this for the first time? Drop it in the comments. I check every comment on this channel, and this is genuinely the kind of conversation I want to have with you. Give this video a thumbs up if it gave you something real today. Share it with someone who has been searching for an honest answer to this question. And subscribe to Rich Habits. I will see you in the next one.